Have you ever doubted your own judgment when it comes to picking the right men? If you're single, chances are the answer to that question is yes. So what questions should you ask yourself during that first month of dating? Stick around to find out. Hi, I'm Marc, Katz, dating coach for smart, strong, successful women, and your personal trainer for love. Welcome to the Love You podcast. Stay to the end of this video to discover the 5 questions you should consider when dating a new guy. When we're done, I'll let you know how you could apply to Love You to create a passionate relationship that makes you feel safe, heard, and understood. So, we're dispensing with the script today. I usually have a script, but today we're kind of dispensing with it. We're just going to talk about some ideas, right? Because usually when people come to me, it's because they're not trusting their own judgment, because of a track record that hasn't been a particularly successful track record. And everybody's looking for the shortcut to make sure they don't make any mistakes and get hurt again. And so I tried to distill the kind of questions I want you to ask yourself, right? Regardless of whether you're in Love You coaching with me. These are questions you could ask yourself when you're dating someone in that first month to know if you're on the right track and should continue investing your time in a guy. So the first question, again, I know it sounds stupid, but I'm gonna list 5 different things. Number 1 is, do I like him? You would be amazed, or maybe you wouldn't be, by the number of women that work with me who contact me on the phone or on Zoom and tell me they don't like the guy that they're seeing. What should they do? I don't know if I want to go out with him again. I just would rather be home watching Netflix. I just don't feel up to it. I gotta talk myself into going on this date. Right? Something just feels off about this guy. We don't really click. All right, so why are you going? I don't know, because you say you should open up to different guys. No, that's not what I say. That's not what opening up means. It's going out with someone that you don't want to go out with. So let's just establish this. If you don't like a guy, don't go out with him. Spare him the trouble. Spare yourself the trouble. You're not doing anybody any favors by going on dates where you would rather not be there. That was number 1. Do I like the guy? Number 2, how does he treat me when we're together? And that's sometimes misleading, right? It's important, right? Why would you go on a date where you feel mistreated? Why would you go on a date when you're not with a guy who is thoughtful, considerate, sensitive, a good listener, chivalrous, right? The qualities we want to see in men. How does he treat me? Does he make plans in advance? Does he live up to his word? Is he flaky or inconsistent? We want to pay attention to how does he treat me when we're together? Is it always his way or the highway? Is he making plans or is he considering my needs? Is he making sure I'm having fun? All right, so how does he treat me? Problem is, a lot of bad guys know how to game that system. Bad, I don't like the word bad, but a lot of guys know how to game that system. A guy who's good at dating, who's charismatic, could show you a great time when you're together. And you could say, well, I like him. He treats me well when we're together. That's like a false positive. So that's sort of the dividing line in this little video is most of my clients know the answers to 1 and 2. I like him. I like being with him, but haven't thought through the next 3 questions. All right, so any one of these questions is a disqualifier. What's the point of having a relationship or having a story play out where you already know that it's not going anywhere because A, you don't really like him that much, B, he doesn't treat you that well when you're together. Most women get seduced by the first 2. I like him, he treats me well. 3rd question, how does he follow up when we're apart? Did a video on this recently, worth repeating. Good ideas are worth repeating. It doesn't matter if he took you out to a fancy dinner, looked in your eyes, told you that he loved you, took you home and made sweet, sweet love to you, and made you breakfast the next day. All that matters is how quickly he says, after that was amazing, when can I see you again? Text 4 days later, doesn't matter. Making plans in the indeterminate future, a week later, 2 weeks later, oh, I got a really busy week, let me follow up with you then, let me check my schedule, doesn't matter, right? It's useless. So I really want to pay attention to number 3. How does he follow up when we're apart? So again, it's very easy to be seduced by a guy who you have chemistry with, who treats you well, comes on really strong, charms the literal pants off of you, and then doesn't follow through quickly. Now, it doesn't mean that every guy's going to be enamored with you and want to commit to you after a great first date. Most guys worth their salt have options and are not going to be that blinded. But sometimes, not even sometimes, generally we want to see a relationship start to ramp up. We'll talk about that in another video. Question number 4. Are we good together in the short term? Are we good together in the short term? And what that means is sometimes you're at a time in your life where you want different things. You could say that we're really great, we're having fun, but if his life is in turmoil right now, then you're not really good in the short term. You might be good on paper, you might be good in the sack, but where you're at in your relationship, because he's separated, because he's going through a messy divorce, because he is on shaky ground with his job, because he's going through full midlife crisis and there's a lot of layoffs going on right now. There's a lot of reasons that a guy might not be a good short-term fit. And so we have to pay attention to those reasons, not sweep them under the rug. You could really like a guy, he could treat you well, he could follow up quickly, but if his life is a mess and he's not in the position to give you what you want, don't sweep that under the rug. Pay attention. Are we good together in the short term? Can he make me happy? Is he showing the ability to do so, not just because I like him or I'm attracted to him or he's a nice person, but does he have anything to give? Question number 5. Are we good together in the long term? And again, I know that's the $64,000 question. Are we good together in the long term? If I could answer that question for you, I would be a very, very successful man. Right? Nostradamus of dating. But there's signs about whether you're good together in the long term. And these are signs that we can pick up on in that first month of dating. Let's dig into those feelings. I got a story about a client who was dating a guy for 1 month. She was madly in love. This is a client 10 years ago, madly in love with this guy. My coaching changes when someone's in a relationship than when she's single. Single, I'm trying to get her into a relationship. Now she's got a boyfriend. So we're just really talking about the relationship and the guy. And what she observed 1 month into the relationship before she graduated from coaching with me was that her boyfriend was arrogant and dismissive. She still had a great time with him. He told her he loved her. He was financially generous. It was a whirlwind of a ride. But when she tried to speak up, express her opinion, he was kind of dismissive of her. 1 year later, I checked in with her. Sometimes check in with some of my favorite clients. I checked in with her, and sure enough, she had recently broken up with her boyfriend for the very reason that she spotted in the first month that they were together. He was completely dismissive of her and her opinions, and he made her feel small and unimportant and unseen. So are we good together in the long term could take on different metrics, right? Compatibility is not whether you like the same stuff or have the same background or the same religious belief. That's not what compatibility is. There's a whole week in Love You about compatibility, and it hinges on things like introversion and extroversion, right? And a relationship to money, and a libido and a desire for sex, and how we view family, right? How we handle household chores and are neat together, how we communicate and resolve conflicts. There's a whole bunch of things, right? Not in the least of which, do we want the same things in life? Do we want kids? Do we want to get married on the same time frame? Right? You don't have to ask all these things point blank, but you need to keep an eye on them lest you find yourself in love with someone who's on a different train, a different track than you are, right? Only to find out 1 year later, oh yeah, that guy told me at the beginning he wasn't looking for anything serious and I ignored it. You got that? So those are the 5 questions. I'm going to run down one more time. Do I like him? How does he treat me when we're together? How does he follow up when we're apart? Are we good together in the short term? Are we good together in the long term? And sometime in the first 5-6 weeks of dating a guy, before you sleep with him, before he becomes your boyfriend, you need to feel really good about the answers to these questions to take the next step, to avoid making mistakes, to avoid wasting time, to avoid getting hurt. I'd rather you cycle through a new guy every month and ask these questions and get it right than to dive into a new relationship only to discover 6 months later you didn't ask the right questions at the beginning. Got it? Good. My name's Marc Katz. Thank you for tuning in to the Love You Podcast. For more episodes like this on YouTube, click the subscribe button, ring the bell to ensure you get notified anytime there's new content. If you're listening to the audio podcast, please scroll down below to give me an honest review on Apple. It means the world to me. As I said in the last podcast, we're getting 25,000 downloads a month. We recently passed 1 million total downloads. More reviews equals more awareness of the podcast and more love in the world. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you again soon.